Welcome to the intro training exercises for Sharperlight's Excel add-in on SAP Business One. Please follow the video carefully, and if needed, use the PDF listed within the description for further information. This is exercise 6, 7, and 8. Exercise 6 goes through a split row formula using named filters. Exercise 7 goes through a split row formula using a value formula. And exercise 8 goes through a trial balance report using split row formulas. To begin, go to the sheet X6 for exercise 6. Here we have a report for revenue that we want to apply a split row formula on. In our sheet, our revenue has a row with an account range defined in cell N7. We want to create rows for each distinct account code. For this, we can use what we call a split row formula. Begin by selecting the cell L7, type =MD split row, then click on the FX function button here. The function arguments window should appear for our split row formula. For the codes, put in @account code, which is the filter name within our value formula in the cell D7, meaning the value formula's account code filter is referenced. For code cell reference, we want to set it to cell N7, which is the account code range. For description cell reference, set it to cell C7, which is where the descriptions of the account code will populate. Lastly, for exclude parent, set it to true. Click OK and our split row formula should populate. Please note, this is not the only way to create a split row formula. You can also output it through Tools, Functions, Action, MD Split Row. You can also use the Splitter button. This will bring a sidebar menu where you can define the properties again, but not in the same function arguments window. If you use the Splitter menu, you would first go to Row or Column, double-click on the cell D7, double-click on the account code N7, set your description cell reference to cell C7, tick Exclude Parent. To finish, select the cell L7 and then click on the link button to output the split row formula. Hit the Recalculate Worksheet button and the split row formula should execute, creating a new sheet, and we can see that rows have been created under revenue for each account code within the specified account range. For exercise 7, go to the sheet X7. In this exercise, we will use a split row formula, but reference a value formula for the account range instead of a static value list. To begin, select the cell Q7. We'll then click on the button for a new value formula. For this query, we'll have our mode set to Detailed, company reference the cell B2, and then select the table GL Transactions. Next, set our GL account code filter parameters to 350,003 to 450,040. We also need to set our filter for year period code to be all. This allows for all periods. For outputs, expand the chart of accounts folder and output account code and account name. You can change the descriptions if you'd like to. Then in the filter pane, hover over the tables section and right-click to look at the queries option window. Here, we want to, in the filter options, tick distinct values. Click OK and then OK again to save the query. Name this query X7 Revenue Accounts. Our value formula will populate, but won't show its values, as value formulas should only return a single value, and our query wants to output a list of account codes. The value formula still, however, can be referenced for the output data, which we will with our split rows formula. While having the cell Q7 selected, copy the formula. We want to insert it into the split rows formula. Now select the cell L7, and where you have @account code, you can paste. If the formula is a bit off, Excel can pick it up and help fix it. In this case, we left in the @ by mistake while pasting it over. Now we have our split row formula, which references a value formula for its account code range. Recalculate the worksheet, and we should see our split rows formula execute. For exercise 8, go to the sheet X8. Here we have a trial balance report, of which we will create rows with a split rows formula, but with a split rows formula for each category of income, expenditure, or other. In the cell E12, you can see the typical value formula being used to return a value, with this cell returning current month income. In the cell O12, we have another value formula, but this one defines the account code ranges for our split row formulas. We also have a suppress rows formula in cell J12, as the trial balance will have 0 rows. Select cell M12 to see the formula for the split rows formula specifically for income. We can see it references the MD value formula for its account code range. Click on the Recalculate Worksheet button, and what we expect is that the 3 split rows formula will execute. This should result in first the income rows, then the expenditure, then the other rows populating. Our suppress rows formula, however, was disabled, as its dependent cell in B4 was still set to true. We can delete the generated sheet, then set the cell B4 to false. Click on the Recalculate Worksheet button again, and now we should have our split rows formula generate a trial balance report with suppressed 0 rows. This concludes the training for exercise 6, 7 and 8 for the Sharperlight Excel add-in on SAP Business One. For more information and in-depth explanations, please refer back to the training PDF.